This presentation examines the ethical, environmental and social impacts of technology on society. So first of all, the environmental impact of computers can actually be quite negative. For instance, the disposal of computer waste is a big problem because they contain many toxic chemicals. Often old computing equipment is illegally shipped for disposal in developing countries. The growth of cloud computing means a greater need for storing data online. For this, data centers are used, but they require huge amounts of electricity, thereby contributing to climate change. And cobalt is a key element required for lithium batteries for powering mobile devices. As well as being a very rare element, much of the world's cobalt is actually mined in the Congo, even by very young children. There are some positive impacts on the use of technology. For instance, there's less reliance on paper. There's more opportunity for online global communication and collaboration, thereby saving on travel and pollution associated with that. And also there's a greater insight into environment and climate through the use of computers to actually model and process environmental data. Another big impact of technology is on the workplace as well. So there is a complete restructuring of the job market required because now there are many more high-tech jobs, so there's less need for many of the lower skilled jobs. So there's really a big implication on what this means for training and for education as well of the workforce. The digital divide refers to the unequal access of information technology between different groups of people and the knowledge and skills needed to use technology. So many people are actually being excluded from online communities and can't fully participate in society. This is either because they don't know how to use the technology or because they simply don't have the resources. So quite often elderly people might find themselves kind of excluded because they just don't have the skills to be able to access the online communities and online resources. Also, people living in rural communities might not be able to access really good resources because there's a lack of quality internet connection. And also people living in remote areas in developing countries as well, just simply the infrastructure doesn't exist for them to be able to access the online world. One of the negative issues surrounding the advent of social media has been this issue surrounding the behaviour of people online. So there are significant issues surrounding trolling and bullying on social media sites. For some reason, the idea of people being anonymous gives them freedom then to maybe behave in an abusive and offensive manner in a way that they wouldn't ordinarily behave in the real world. So this is an issue that seriously needs to be addressed, particularly by the social media sites. So there are a whole range of other social impacts which we'll just briefly go through here. So surrounding cybersecurity, there is increasingly greater number of state-sponsored cyber attacks emanating particularly from the Russian state that are attacking Western democratic institutions. Big issues around copyright of algorithms. For instance, algorithms can be patented. Is this okay though? Should developers be allowed to patent algorithms they spent some time developing to protect their investment? Also, the advent of mobile technologies is a good thing, allows us to communicate, but also there are issues around privacy and security around that because, for instance, phone calls can be logged along with location and all those things. So these are things we need to be really thoughtful of. The advent of computer-based implants, so brain implants for people who may be paralyzed and pacemakers for people with heart conditions. So these are hugely beneficial and huge benefit people in a huge way. And another thing are things like wearable technology. So part of the Internet of Things, including smartwatches, allows you to do a lot more with your devices. Again, cloud storage. We've talked about the environmental impacts of this. Also, there's data protection implications as well, and who are the companies using the data ethically. And also wireless networking. Surrounding this, there are again security issues around wireless networks. And we have to consider the theft of computer code, so software piracy, also hacking, which we talked about as well, and cracking as well.